Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa.
Hi.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And Lim?
Good evening, Bhante. Good evening, Gaya Namita. Welcome to our Sutta discussion, day 12, and by Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima. I'm Brother Lim. On behalf of Ti-Ratana Aman Bedana, Vihala Clan, will be your moderator tonight. With the blessing from the Chief Reverend, Dato K. Sri Dhamma-Ratana, this class will be broadcast by Zoom as well as on Ti-Ratana Aman Bedana Vihara Klang Facebook page and YouTube channel. Our speaker, Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima, is the senior advisor to Sutta. Sutta is a virtual Dharma organization that helps beginners as well as expert students in the learning Dharma in variety ways. You can check on Sota with the link www.patisota.blogspot.com. Many people are interested in Dhamma Pariyesana, Patisota's most acclaimed interview series, which Bhante conducts on regular basis. In 2015, Bhante Dr. Chandima earned a PhD in the Buddhist studies from a university in Jayawardenepura in Sri Lanka. From 2012 to 2016, Bhante served as a Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. And in 2016, was a research fellow at the Center of Religions and Society of University of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Without further ado, we welcome Bhante Dr. Chandima. Welcome, Bhante, and thank you very much for tonight's talk. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Lim. Good evening, everybody. I am also at the moment in Thailand. The place is Mahachulalongkorn Vidyalaya University in Ayutthaya. It's 1 hour from Bangkok. So as you can see that I was invited to come here to do some advising part for the journal. So I'll be leaving back to Colombo next Wednesday, this Wednesday actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in the hotel at the moment. So don't, my background, everything is different today. That's why. So yeah, so how are you, Sita? How are you doing?
I'm good, Bhante. Thank
Good.
you.
And we heard Kim's situation, and Kim was sharing about kind of excited trip that she wants to go. But anyways, these things happen, you know. So we just accept, you know, that's the hardest part. But that's Buddhism. Accepting the reality is Buddhism. But unfortunately, we accept things with time. It's not unfortunate. I mean, that's that's the reality. The real reality is the acceptance of everything with time. Understand? But I hope that Kim will be able to, if you have time, you will be able to pay a visit to New Zealand before you come back to Malaysia. So hopefully you're gonna take care of yourself. I hope that you are in the best care of your, I don't know, probably your son or daughter, whoever with you. We wish you that you have speedy recovery and get back to normal. And we have Brutus. I think you have a different name, I guess. What's your real name, though?
Brother Wu.
Brother Wu. Yeah. And welcome back. So today we were discussing to do a review about the whole sutta. That means we are not going to do one by one, but the sponsor for today's discussion, Jeannie Chan, she actually sent me a couple of questions. So I actually posted them under the chat. Sister Jeannie Chan is sponsoring today, and then she has some questions. She, to my understanding, she's watching the recorded video after our live show. Probably she's busy at this time. So anyways, so we have questions at the moment. There are 3 questions at the moment. I can get to those questions probably sometime, probably at the beginning, probably during the time. But I would like to know if you have questions, because you are already here, about Mangala Sutta, any stanza or anywhere in the Mangala Sutta. So this is the time we can discuss, and then slowly we move on to the other questions. Mangala Sutta, which means a blessing. How to get blessings. There are 38 ways to get blessings. Normally, I think at the beginning of the Mangala Sutta discussion, I guess 10 weeks back, probably in March, if I'm correct, in March, I explained to you, here is a tricky thing. The tricky thing is oftentimes what we hear from those people who bless us is that blessings only come from a chanting. But then I explained to you, while that is being the truth in a different perspective, we also need to create blessings. Like, let's say, if you are someone who is trying to get blessings from a virtuous, a worthy person, that's good. But you will get more blessings if you create blessings. So these are the 38 ways how you create blessing. That's a very important, I guess, insight or thing that we have to learn from this sutta, rather than just waiting to go for a monastery and then get blessings. I mean, you should do that also whenever your time permits to do that. But at the same time, you have to put more, I would say, time and effort for creating blessings. That was how I started this sutta discussion, actually, with Mangala Sutta. Yeah, so any questions about the Mangala Sutta? It's time.
Yeah, Bhante. I just now hearing the Bhante say, I think this 38 blessing is an opportunity. I think we should do something on creating the blessing rather than just waiting to happen. So for 38 blessing, is it any how to balance out? Because for I do have thought to do the checklist. So how to go into it? I think 38 is quite a thing to focus. How do we, and is any one or any method that we can, like one day we do one, or just or how any other to make sure to make us like we can do all the 8 blessing in maybe in a year or something, or yeah.
Very good question. I think it's about the preparation of how we're going to get this started. Okay, I think whenever we talk about numbers in Buddhism, someone might think that there is a mathematical clarity that we need to make clear. But in my understanding, more or less, but in here, now, as we discussed, the first blessing to be asevanacha balana, not associating bad friends. I think without creating that blessing, you won't be able to make other blessings. So in that sense, of course, there is a good beginning to start with, asevanacha balana, which means not associating bad friends. And then panditananta sevana, that means associating good friends. So just, okay, now that is good to think, to start with this association of good friends and not associating the bad friends. But then the list of other blessings that you can see after first, second, I don't think that you have to practice one by one. Probably there are because you're gonna actually practice depending on the situation, right? Other than that, you are not trying to wake up today. Okay, today I'm going to practice Mangala blessing number 4. Tomorrow 5. Then you are forgetting about number 4, and tomorrow 8. Maybe you can do a starter like that, but in the real practice, what you are supposed to do is that you start with the Kalyana Mittas, but you are trying to simultaneously practice most out of these blessings as much as you can. That's the plan. Otherwise, we will miss out on the important blessings, because blessings can be practiced or created depending on the situation. We don't know what situation will loom over. What situation will come to me today? Let's say today, if your parents going to visit you, then Mata Pitu Upattanam, today you could do that in a better way, right? Let's say today is your spouse's birthday, right? It can happen, right? Anywhere during the year, right? So if that is that particular birthday, so you can actually, create that blessing. But what about Majjapanacha Sanyamo? If you are somebody who consumes alcohol, then it has to be always, right? Right? You have to have that, what you call restraint, control with that thing, right? Management of that thing. What about if we take another blessing like, let's take another blessing, Bahu Satchanta Sippancha, right? So then well-readness. So every time there is something for us to learn, right? Wherever you go, let's say you watch a discussion. Let's say you re-watch our own discussions, right? After this. So each time you watch the discussion, you learn something different. It is not because of what I talk. It is because of when you direct your attention deeply towards what I'm talking, and that particular Dhamma factor with your experiences, with other things you see, environment, then you will learn, you will relearn from the learned stuff, So it's how it works, So then that means there's no such thing that you start from, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but of course you're going to start with that particular basis. But for the rest of the blessings, you're going to practice as much as you can, depending on how you experience your life, how you spend your day, how you spend your particular activities. Does that make sense, Brother King? Lip? I hope.
Yes, Bhante.
Great.
Bhante, this blessing, we are supposed to do it, isn't it?
We are supposed to create it, actually. Not
to
create blessings.
But is there one blessing? I think it's stanza number 3. Pubecha kata punata.
Pubecha kata punyata.
To have done meritorious deeds or actions in the past.
Yeah.
Now in the past is something now we cannot do now, isn't it?
Yeah, we may not be able to do. Okay.
So what is the meaning of this stanza?
Okay, very good question. For example, now there is someone who doesn't spend a comfortable life. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can we tell that particular person? You are not comfortable. You have a lot of complaints about different things. Then at least you start doing more good karmas now. At least then your next moment, next month, next year, next couple of years will be a good thing. So while we understand it's an automatic blessing from past life for the people who have done it, but for those folks who have not done it enough, then we are telling them, you need to at least create more good karmas, at least at this moment, for the next week, for the next day, for the next year, for the next decade, for the rest of your life. So it always works, for those folks who have done it, who have not done it.
I see. Thank you. I'm always thinking I cannot explain this stanza.
But you got a point here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Mm.
Because Brother Wu, the interesting part here is, if we tell somebody, now this particular blessing only comes from past life, then many people in this world have an unfair situation, because they think that now we are not lucky enough like you, right? Supposing that they have not enough comforts in their life. So that's why we say, if you have done it, so that's okay. So you're gonna, actually, for those folks who have even done good karmas in past life, they have to still continue doing more good karmas, right? Even for them, because there's no guarantee that they will have the same comforts until they attain nibbana in next life. So if that is the case, doing more good karmas is not only a necessity for the need for those who don't have comforts now, but also for those folks who already have comfort, because there's no guarantee, because good karmas can run out as time goes on. Otherwise, if you have done a good karma, you will be ever happy. No, there's no ever happy situation. Like the jhaning people, they even expire from jhanas. That's why the Buddha says everything is impermanent, attain nibbana. So then that's the end. All the other types of happiness stuff are supposed to expire. So for those folks who think that they have already a happy life, please continue being more good to others, to you. For those folk who think that they are not happy enough, please try to do more good karmas. Because karmas are not for next lives, karmas are also for this life.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Hello, Sister Hema. How are you doing?
Thank you, Sadhu, Bhante. Sorry for being late, Bhante. Just came back. Sorry for being late.
So we've been actually talking different random questions at the moment. We have 3 questions sent by the sponsor today, Sister Ginny Chan. So we are taking other questions at the moment and then get to those questions during the time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bhante.
So we are reviewing Mangala Sutta today. That means today is the last day for Mangala Sutta. So we will be starting Ratana Sutta from next Friday. That's the plan. Yeah. So whatever the questions you have about Mangala Sutta should be directed today. That'll be nicer.
Will there be notes for the next lesson?
Will there be notes? You mean like a PDF about the sutta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like what we got for this one.
Yeah, I will be
Okay.
sending that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with Aliana, Sister Aliana. Sorry. So till you come up with a question, let me get to question number 1, directed by Sister Jenny Chan. Mangala number 32. It's kind of a blessing over here. 32nd blessing. You can see 32. To lead the holy life, Brahmacharya. In my understanding, it is fourfold. I make the question much simpler. Metona virati, it's number 1. Samana Dhammo is second, Sasanang third, for Magga. I think for those folks who don't know Pali, let me explain to her. She looks like she has some Pali knowledge to say this question this way. So normally, Brahmacharya means for the monks celibacy, which means not having love-making, sex, and then Samana Dhammo means it's the practice of the monastics, not only for the monks, but also for every, I would say, Hindu wandering folks. Sasanang means another meaning for Brahmacharya. That means when the monastics practice this, what you call celibacy, it will become the Buddhist order. And the fourth is Magga, the path. Actually, Magga is the most important meaning to Brahmacharya because celibacy is something that is being practiced by many, even other religious people too. Samana Dhammo is the same idea just because they practice it. Sasanang is also connected to this whole thing. Magga means that when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, that means you are practicing the highest path. But her question, but in Mangala Sutta here is more referring to Magga. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah, I think we talked about that. So Mangala Sutta's Brahmacharya means practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah, that's what we actually talked about. Just because you are celibate, nothing will happen to you. Probably you are trying to manage yourself, but you have a purpose. You are celibate for a reason. Well, I mean, how the problem here is, how does this apply to a layperson? Because layperson doesn't have borders, limits to this idea. So I think I also shared with you another idea for this. That idea was to say that Brahmacharya for a layperson is to practice the 4 Brahma Viharas. And I think I discussed that with you. That is how we have to take. Now, if we just confine this to a celibate or a kind of a very serious Dhamma path, then lay people might not be able to tap into that life. You know, it's difficult for them because they are with their secular pursuits, although they are trying to limit that. So I think for a layperson, how I would like to take this is to practice 4 Brahma Viharas, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha. So that's the idea.
Bhante, I'm not sure what is the question.
I think what she's asking, I think this is something that she thinks as what Brahmacharya means. So she thinks Brahmacharya means practicing Noble Eightfold Path. Well, that is yes to the monks, monastics, but to lay people, it might not be always because they are not celibate. So, while the definition of Brahmacharya can be twofold, for the monastics, one idea, lay people is one idea. So she's trying to make sure whether her understanding is correct or not. That's question number 1. Any other question before we jump into the second question?
So, Bhante, this one, I heard about this. I don't know whether it is true or not. If a lay person practice successfully and he becomes an Arahant, attained to the status of Arahant, then within 7 days, he must enter the Sangha or he will die. Is that true?
Yeah, that's a true statement. Yeah, because normally if you are an Arahant, you are not staying anymore with
family,
with a secular life. Yeah.
Yes, oh.
Yeah. That's a statement. It's quite a statement.
Or
you pass away, die, or you enter the Sangha. That's what happens.
Yes.
Now
Yes,
there was an incident where one guy who was trying to travel to another country, by a ship, and the ship is shipwrecked during the journey. And so he managed to come back to one of the shores of the ocean, and then he didn't find any clothes, so he found out some wooden planks left on the shore. So he just managed to cover up, and then he saw that some people came up to him and then say sadhu or whatever. Oh, you are an arahant. They were thinking probably they have a misunderstanding about somebody who is wearing wooden planks can be an arahant. And he said, yeah, I'm an arahant. And then mother of him in one of the previous lives told him, you are cheating on this concept of being an arahant. Do not fake, do not pretend. You should learn how to become an arahant by approaching the Gautama Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and he lives in Savatthi or something. So the day that he was told by one of the mothers in a previous life, he managed to go to Savatthi. Probably the Buddha was living near Jetwanarama, and he came to know that Buddha was going for Pindapata at the time he was visiting there. So he went after the Buddha while the Buddha was doing his Pindapata on the street. So normally the Buddha does not talk Dhamma while he was on Pindapata. It's a different practice. You don't talk to people while they are eating, right? While they are doing eating stuff, right? So even you're not disturbing any animal when they are eating, right? So then this gentleman asked the Buddha, can you teach me Dhamma? First time. And then he said, Buddha didn't say anything. And for the second time, he also asked, can you teach me Dhamma? And then the Buddha talked to him, so what's going on here? And he saw this guy is going to die today in an hour or so. So he wants some support. So then the third time he asked, can you teach me some Dhamma? And then the Buddha said, Ditte dittamattam bhavisati, sute sutamattam bhavisati, mute mutamattam bhavisati, vinyate vinyatamattam bhavisati. Which means if you see something or someone, just think you just saw. Do not imagine stuff on that particular picture, image, or person. If you heard something, just think it is just something that you heard. Do not try to too much attach to that particular thing. If you thought, if you such, just think that it happened, and do not try to attach. Do not try to bring imaginations, your own ideas towards it. And the moment he heard this, other monks could not observe anything. He was attacked by a cow, probably in a moment of time, because the cow was trying to protect her newly born baby, and then he was killed. At that moment, the Buddha told the monks, you need to create a pagoda for this gentleman because he was an arahant. He was an arahant, but he was killed as a layperson. Either you have to die or you have to enter Sangha within a week, as you said. Not you have to die. Don't think you're going to die. You have to die. You will die.
You will die.
You will die. Don't think you have to die. That's quite bad to think. Nobody should die. Okay. So yeah, so that's a very interesting story that we see in, I think, in Udana Pali, Khuddaka Nikaya. Yeah. So yeah, that's true. But why are we worried about what will happen to us, whether we should die or whether we should enter Sangha? Just do our practice. Because if you're going to imagine these things, then we may have some fears, because fears are what we're trying to eliminate at this moment, right? Fears of safety, fears of life, fears of separation, fears of dying. So these are our problems at the moment, problems of everybody, even to an animal. So if we really move towards the path to find the fearless, this path, this will be something natural. So we don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to question number 2 till somebody comes up with a question. In many sutta, Mara appears to obstruct us. But in actual fact, Mara helps us to realize the reality and get rid of our defilements. So Mara is not a bad one, isn't it? A very good way of looking at it. Yes, I think a lot of people are feared at karma, desires, aren't we? Are we feared at our own karma? When we desire something, somebody, when we like something, do we have a fear? Fear of, sometimes it's the fear of not being able to possess it. Fear of losing it is another kind of fear, or fear of creating bad karma. So there are multiple fears attached to any karma. I think karma should not be looked at any of these ways. Karma is what helps us to live. Even at this moment, we have a karma. But this karma can be a chanda. Chanda means a desire to learn. But still we have karma. Without karma, we can't exist. Now, Mara. Now, the problem is Mara an individual or a mere concept? Still a debating scholarly research in Buddhism. But the concept of Mara is already, I think, given in many texts, Abhidhamma or some other places, just saying that there are 5 Maras: Kanda Mara, Kilesa Mara, Abhisankara Mara, Devaputta Mara, Machu Mara. That means many of the Maras, I guess 3 Maras are nobody but us. Let's say, because we carry 5 aggregates, we are ourselves Maras. Because we because we are susceptible, we are vulnerable to create karmas, I would say kilesas, defilements. We are more susceptible to create defilements. We represent ourselves as Maras. Because we create karmas through those khandas and then kilesas, we are Maras too. So there are, so the concept of Mara, the number of Maras, when you look at the number of Maras, 3 of the Maras are nobody, they are us. But the 4th Mara is Machu Mara. Now, the Machu Mara is said to be an individual. We call him Vasavatti Mara too, the guy who had a very serious encounter with the Buddha, trying to stop him becoming the Buddha. Now, the thing what I think she's asking is very interesting, because we look at Mara in a way that defeats us, But I think Mara is a good tester, good tester actually. Mara is a good trigger for us to test us. Let's say we are struggling with the karma, so then if we can observe our own karma or observe our own anger, then I think it's a very good appearance to us. So rather than seeing that Mara is bad as a concept, but Mara should be looked at in different ways. So if we see our own defilements, our own aggregates, our own abhisankaras, our own karmas as Maras, then we will, I think, better take care of our life spiritually. So I think that's what we need to understand. So Mara is not, I would say, always bad. That's a better way of looking at it. Mara is not bad one, isn't it? So Mara is not always bad. I think we Now, for example, let's say you made a mistake in your life. Let's say you were angry, you said something bad to someone, you bad mouth. Because you were actually taken over by this Mara's, what do you call, your own aggregates, your own defilements, your own abhisankaras. Then when you look at that particular incident after, maybe after an hour, maybe another day, you feel very sad about why I talk like that to that person. You're very remorseful about it, right? So probably these subtle incidents teach us something, right? I'm not saying this should happen because in our usual life, daily life, a lot of things can happen. So the answer to this question is we have to look at Mara from a very wiser point. That wiser point is that we have to think that Mara is our weak side of life. So we have to be able to look at this weak side. So that is called Machu Mara. That's the Mara regarding the death. He likes people to be born again and again. Remember one incident, one monk was seriously meditating, and then he had not seen the Buddha. Probably he was in the 3rd century or 4th century. So he was attacked by the Mara. So normally Mara attacks, this 4th type of Mara attacks the good people all the time, right? Not even the bad people. Bad people are bad. So he doesn't want to worry about it, right? Normally, he knows that they are bad. So you don't want to worry about it. He knows they are bad. They're going to be continuing samsara. But the good folks, he's putting his eyes. If somebody crosses the ocean of samsara, he is losing someone. So he saw one monk was seriously, really meditating. So he then approached, said, "You don't meditate. Don't meditate. Don't practice awareness, sati sampajanya." Then he said, "Okay, I will not practice it. But you are Mara, right? Vasavati Mara." He said, "Yes. But can you give me a favor? Just a small favor." He said, "What? Can you show me the real picture of the Buddha? Can you become the real Buddha?" Now, Buddha has passed away many centuries ago by that time. And Mara, "Oh, it's a simple thing. Don't worry. I seen that guy." He said, "I seen him. I have some fights, battles with him." And then he became the real Buddha's image. The moment he became the Buddha's image, the monk became an enlightened person, Arahant. So he was very worried about this incident. I should never do it again for anybody. So there are very interesting encounters with Mara. And then another incident was when Prince Siddhartha became ascetic Siddhartha. He was meditating, or he was looking for different ways to attain Buddhahood before he meets Panchavagya Bhikkhu, 5 ascetics. Mara saw him. Mara told him, "You know what? Why are you practicing these ascetic things? You are a prince. Go back to your palace and do more punya, merits. Do more punya." The Mara didn't say, "Don't do papa, do more punya." Because then when somebody does more punya, that's what we are supposed to do until we attain Nibbana. Then the Prince Siddhartha will forget about ending the samsara. Then Prince Siddhartha, ascetic Siddhartha, says to Mara, "No, I'm not looking for merits. I want to end the samsara. Tell somebody who wants to do good karma. Go approach." So this is a sutta from, I guess, Kuddaka Pata. So anyways, these are the 4 types of Maras. The 5th one is a Mara. He's a Deva, actually. See, for those folks who want to go to heavens, the highest heavens are possessed by one Mara called Devaputta Mara. Nimmana Rati Paranimita Vasavati. So Nimmana Rati means that they create their own mansion. Like those folks who have lots of money, they create their custom-made, customized house, palace. Nimmana Rati. Other folks just buy the palaces made by others. They can't make whatever they want. So Nimman Rati is that heaven for those folks who go there. And Paranimita Vasavatti is, they can create mansions by others. So these two heavens are actually possessed by this Mara. So Mara is a bigger concept. What we need to understand is, if you think you are disturbed by Lobha, Dosa, Moha, just think that this is going to be a good experience for me, and I'm going to learn it. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. Not thinking, because the notion that Mara is bad comes not from our individual experiences. Where does it come from, Dhamma folks? Just have an educated guess. Where does this Mara being bad come from? Why this notion is among the people? It is because he was bad to the Buddha. Now people take it, oh, he's bad to us. He's bad to Buddhists. But we are struggling with our own experiences, our own experiences. In that case, Mara is somebody, or because Mara has 10 army, right? He has 10 army, Mara Sena, forces. So we need to understand who they are, and then to practice, and then to take care of us, our thoughts, our mind. So the answer to that is, not saying that Mara is not always bad. Mara is an experience of our life. If we really take care of our experiences, we also understand the Mara and his approaches, activities. Okay, any other questions before we jump into the third question?
Bhante,
Yeah.
regarding this Mangala Sutta, for our benefit. So you do it well.
Brother Wu, I think there was a disruption of your connection. Could you
Looking up, but
Following
cannot
the
hear.
Buddhist
yeah, could you repeat the question, please?
I mean the blessings that we will get if we practice for our children or for our grandchildren. So,
Yeah, I think.
so what we can do? Can we do something for them to get benefit from this Mangala Sutta?
Yeah, I think I didn't hear the whole question well. I think we are breaking up.
Can you hear me, Bhante?
Now I hear you. Can you repeat the question again? In short.
Okay. What I say is, this Mangala Sutta teaches to develop the blessings for ourselves, for me, for myself. But now I also want these blessings for my family, for my children, for my grandchildren. But some of them are not Buddhist.
Yeah.
So how to get these blessings for them in this situation?
Where is it said that we have to be a Buddhist to practice this 38 in any of these 38? There's no Buddhist saying here, but there's no Buddhist brand like label in any of these 38. But when we talk about the last couple of I would say blessings, if you take a look, let's take a look.
Stanza number?
Yeah, stanza, I would say, okay, verse number 10. Now, Brahmacharya, I said for Brahmaviharas, so it is very common to everybody because everybody is supposed to practice loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. There's no Buddhist thing attached. But Arya Satchana Dasanang, Nibbana Satchakriya, now they are quite Buddhist. I would say Buddhist. It's attached to the the Buddha's path. But the thing is, like, I don't think somebody who come from a different background, religious, cultural background, wanted to go to this serious level, you know, right away, outright. So I think they are supposed to practice, or they will practice from the first bunch of blessings. So I mean, there are so many other blessings they can create. So if you really want to help them, you can have a discussion, because you don't need to be a Buddhist to practice, because we're saying blessings. We all need blessings. So if you want blessings, you can practice many of these 38. But a couple of them is about sansaric ending of samsara. So I don't think that they should come to that point, because if they are you know, firm believers of other religions. But other blessings they can practice, right? It's like if you have a problem with the nuts, if you are going to eat a cake, you're going to take out the nuts, you're going to eat the rest of the cake, right? Right? You eat the rest of the cake, but you don't eat the nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Right? So
Yeah.
there are always possibilities to practice. So not just because you want to be a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddha never taught Dhamma to Buddhist. Buddha taught Dhamma to people. But later on, people label it, we have a Buddhist, not just the people, the other religious people call, these are Buddhist. But there is no such thing called Buddhist anywhere in the text.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So it's kind of, you know, humbly speaking, to accept us personally that we are Buddhists. It's kind of a self-cheating in a way, you know, because Buddha never called we are Buddhist, but we have been made Buddhist by the statistics and other religious things. But textually speaking, there is no identification as to
Buddhist.
understand that there are Buddhists. But there are words in the text like Arya Savaka. Who is Arya Savaka? Noble disciple. So when you say noble disciple, every religion can call their followers noble disciples. Noble means higher, right? Higher disciple.
Yeah.
They practice it. Okay, so we'll jump into the third question, but I want others to ask questions too, just to see whether you understood. Okay, till some of you come with a question, I'll go to the question number 3. Stanza number 10. Okay, stanza number 10. Let's go to that stanza, the same stanza. Tapocha Brahmacharyancha Arya Sachana Dasana Nibbana Satchakiryacha Etam Maṅgala. Right? So she's referring to question number 3 here, stanza number 10. Is to learn about the conventional truth. And stanza number 11. Putthassaloka Dhammehi Chittang Yasana Kampati Asokang Virajang Kema Etam Maṅgala Uttama. So stanza number 11 is to practice ultimate truth in our daily life. Is there that kind of a notion, Dhamma folks? What do you think? Let me ask from you, because you've been learning already. Now, the question says, stanza number 10 is to learn about the conventional truth. Stanza number 11 talks about the ultimate truth. There is no such thing over here, because verse number 10 is about Tapocha Brahmacharyancha Arya Sachana Dasana Nibbana Satchakriyacha etang Mangala Muttamang, which means attaining Nibbana, realizing noble truths. And Puttasaloka Dhammehi Chittang Asana Kampati, which it's a very practical statement that we all supposed to practice in our daily life. So that is not the Paramatta Satya. Asokang Virajang Kemang, Etam Mangala Muttama. So Asokang Virajang Kemang, they are related to Nibbana. Now the thing here is, where do we find out this conventional truth and ultimate truth? Now this is a teaching where we understand Abhidhamma. What is conventional truth? Conventional truth means Buddhism talks about the truth in two ways. Now, in Dhammapada we see there is self, right? There's a chapter for the self, Attavagga. And in Abhidhamma it says there is no self, but that is at the ultimate level. You can't call a self because there's no self, but a combination of 5 aggregates, so such. By understand the worldly change we remains uninfluenced, our defilements are not real and completely detached from them, only able to have asukam viryang came. Okay. Well, I mean, we may have some thoughts about this, but we cannot separate 10 and 11 to be Sammuti Satcha, is normally conventional means Sammuti Satcha, and ultimate truth means Paramatta Satcha. But what I can say is, the main idea that I really wanted to tell you is how you can practice the 38 blessings, how you can create 38 blessings. Not that you need to attain Nibbana right away. So if we talk like that, then what we need to understand is, verse number 10 is about practicing your path. At the same time, what do you call, the path and attaining Nibbana. Verse number 11 says, what will happen to you after you attain Nibbana? That's interesting, right? So, right? But there are certain ways to understand this to our normal life. Now, let's say if you understand there are 8 worldly things, if you don't get shaken by those 8, then that means you have a blessing, you create a blessing even without becoming an Arahant. Okay. Any other questions? So we have answered the 3 questions asked by Sister Jeannie. And any other questions about Mangala Sutta? Any questions from Vinita, Suresh?
Evan, I'm sorry, I just came back from work. So
Okay.
I quickly on my thing. I'm so sorry. I wanted to prepare some questions. Can I take it up at the next class? Is it okay?
Next class we're going to do Ratana Sutta. Probably
Oh, okay.
you can WhatsApp me the questions.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm rushing.
Not a problem.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
So if I ask a question from you, because you've been studying now these 38 blessings, what Mangala fact blessings you've been creating at the moment? Interesting question, right? What Mangala factors you've been creating at the moment, like in this discussion? Do we practice number 1 at the moment?
I think, Bhante, yes, I think number 1 and 2 is so important to start off. Bhante, because not to follow and associate with the fools. I think what Buddha has laid down all these blessings is really, as long as I don't associate with the fools, it has resolved a lot of problems.
Let's call them unwise people.
Unwise or whatever, and then
Yeah.
associate with the wise. Otherwise, if I associate with the drug addicts or the gamblers and all that, in fact, I think life is very challenging and very upside down. So I think very important to choose and associate with the wise. I think these blessings is very important to inculcate to my children, to my to myself first and to the children, to choose the friends, to be aware of who you associate with, that we will help in the journey in the life. Which I felt is very important to start off on a spiritual journey, to associate with the wise. We learn more from the Sangha, the monks and the teachers. So it's good to associate with the wise where we can learn so much, and it's a blessing also to have to meet and to live in a place whereby there is a Dharma propagating that we can listen and learn from. So it's already a good blessing, I find, where we stay and where we choose to stay also is very important. That is very basic. But very important is to avoid all evils. It's already mentioned in the stanza 7, I think, cease and abstain from evils. So I think it's important. I think a lot of all the blessing here is really reminding me to be making an extra effort to see how it makes the life much easier in the path, spiritual path. And I find to learn multitask also, the handicraft, multi-vocation or vocation or skill. When we learn this, when this blessing, I learned this is so amazing that it's nothing to lose when I learn more skill of anything that will enhance to make the life much easier. This is what I felt that, and at the ending thing, I think last week or the week before, Bhante, you mentioned about secure the Olga or the floods that we have to overcome. So I felt it's a good reminder to go more in depth to understand it much further, to practice. So I find Mangala Sutta has been really a good sutta to start off to make to count on the blessings that I receive and also for me to practice. Sadhu Bhante for putting this topic sutta in our learning this every Friday. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sadhu.
Yeah, my question though was to ask how many blessings are we creating at the moment, during this time?
Oh, you mean during this pandemic? Or
No,
what?
now at the moment, this discussion, at the moment during this discussion.
So
Now, for example, let's say let's go over like probably a couple of them, like just to I would say give all our Dhamma folks an idea. Like these are not those deep, difficult, stuff, incapable stuff. Now, the first one, not to associate with unwise people. Okay, yeah, none of us, is doing that. Associating with the wise. Yes, we all are gathered here to have the company with the wise people.
That's right.
Then number 3, pay respect where they are puja. Yes, that's also happening. You are respecting the monk. You are respecting the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 4, to reside in a suitable location. Now the suitable location is in the right place of the virtual hub where you practice the Dhamma. You can practice the Dhamma from anywhere in the world, right?
Yes.
Number 5, yes, that means to have previously done meritorious deeds. That's why you are here. You are blessed to listen to the Dhamma. And then number 6, I think lots of, most of the blessings are being created even at this very moment. How nice is it? Huh? Even at this moment. That's why I'm trying to, ask you to observe the moment and then look at that these blessings are not that you have to prepare, you have to get ready, you have to have different time space, you have to plan a lot. You may plan, but these are very, like, I wouldn't say easy, don't say easy for the good stuff. These are actually happening even within our actual activities. So then why don't we just sort of manage them for the better, so that they will be happening to us, like as Sister Hema said about Bahu Satcha, and then what you call Sippa. That means learning will never end, right? We learn every day, right? Sometimes the Dhamma we heard 10 years back is now only making clear to us. How is that blessing? We heard it 10 years back, but now only they are being clarified, because we haven't looked at in that particular way. So that means we have the blessing, but we don't know how to create upon it. It's because the clarification is not enough. Maybe the environment, situation, phenomenon, right? Now today, Kim is a little unwell because of this situation. Now you can think about this blessing called, what do you call at the end here? Number 35, a mind unshaken by contact with the world, right? So sorrowlessness, these are all blessings, right? Sometimes things don't happen the way we want. So we need to accept, but we will make them happen in a different way, right? Then it's a blessing. Now, what happens to many is some people plan, it happens. Some people plan, it happens, then it's a Mangala to them. But some people plan, it doesn't happen. So it's a Mangala to them, the way they did. Now, actually, it's not Mangala. It is also a Mangala, but they don't take it as a Mangala. This is a life experience. I have to look at it differently. If I look at it differently, I understand, oh, really, there is something to learn out of it, right? So that's a Mangala.
Yes.
It's like we see in society asking people, you have to be good like this, but people are differently good. They are not similarly good, they are differently good. That's when we understand Brother Wu's question about how we're going to teach this to, if we want, to other folks, like non people, non-people, like not in this path. So that's the place where we're gonna teach them in a very Dhamma, what do you call, religious friendly tone, language, approach to them. Nowadays, I think that's the most spreading trend. You teach Dhamma without too much, bringing up lots of religious stuff. It's gonna be very common. It's gonna be applying to everybody.
Yes.
Right? Respecting the Buddha. Okay, any other questions? If not, we're going to transfer the good karmas to the departed people.
Okay.
Bhante, may I ask, all those stanza from 1 to 12, is there the priority or the sequence that is of the importance, or it's just line up as it is?
No, we can't say it just line up as it is. There is a certain order for someone to grasp the virtues, actually the blessings. But at the end, it doesn't mean that we have to start one by one. But of course, we have to start with the wise people, because Kalyana Mitrata, wise friendship, is what begins every good thing. But after that, if we only practice 6 today, 7 tomorrow, 8 the day after tomorrow, that won't work. So, but if you start up with this thing, probably you may do one by one. But at the end, the real practice is that you need to practice simultaneously. But the way how it was given, the context was given for the lay people to understand this properly, because this was told to a deva. Deva is a person who is having a lot of comforts. He is having a lot of karma. So they won't be, now this happens. When a monk is going to give a Dhamma talk, what if he talks about Nibbana too much? People get frustrated because we have no idea about what Nibbana is at the beginning. So he has to talk about the secular way of understanding the Dhamma first, and then slowly, gradually navigate them to the Nibbana. So the same thing applies to the Mangala Sutta's context.
Yes.
Now, if the Buddha talks about Nibbana at the beginning, Nibbana is the highest blessing. Seeing the four truths is the highest blessing, then people will never think starting this. But if Buddha said, because Buddha said, start with the good friends, okay, that's something we can do, because we feel that there are a lot of bad experiences we have, bad people, right? So we can make it, we can start it. So I think this was actually lined up in a way how a normal person can perceive the blessings in the best way possible, and then slowly move towards the Nibbana. Yeah.
Good, Bhante. The next question, Bhante, can I know, is it important to memorize it, or just that we practice few is good enough? Or we know, we are aware, or is it good to really memorize, to know? I think when Bhante, most of the, I think Sangha, most of you are chanting this, does it mean it's already internalized in your in yourself by knowing this sutta chanting?
A very good question. I mean, that relates to every Dhamma thing, not even Mangala Sutta. I think what is more important with all these things is not the language at the end, but whether we are able to incorporate the very idea of all these Dhammic things into our life. That's the most important thing. Now, there may be people who cannot understand Pali very much. Maybe they understand it, but they don't understand Pali very much. But knowing some Pali gives such people a precise understanding, because Pali always clarifies the knowledge. If you don't know some Pali, you will always have a trouble. What is this? What is Mitta? What is Kalyana? What is Patirupa? Right? So it's always good to have a kind of a knowledge about Dhamma, but it says little knowledge is very dangerous. That's a statement, quite a statement. Little knowledge of anything is quite dangerous. So my understanding for the path is that do not only focus on the language. What you need is try to learn language a little bit, Pali a little bit. That little bit depends on your own understanding. Right? You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to have that monk knowledge, because for me, we've been studying Pali Sanskrit ever since we became monks. So it's not that kind of a thing to many of us. You don't have to think that way. But for you, the most important thing for most of you is that try to have a precise understanding, knowledge about the Dhamma, and then do more for the practice. If you don't do more for the practice, even though you have a degree about it, even though you have a book of knowledge about it, that won't make any sense. That is when the Buddha said a very nice metaphor for that. kind of a simile in Dhammapada. Bahum piche sahitang bhasamano natakkaro hoti naro pamatto gopo vagavo ganayam paresan nabhagava samanya sahoti. The meaning, this is I think the last stanza, or the I think the stanza that is before the last stanza in the Dhammapada, the first chapter. It says, if you know the whole Dhamma very well, but if you don't have a dint of practice, a little of practice, what you do is that you are taking care of other people's cows. So take care of your own cows. Interesting, huh? Very interesting statement. That's the give a read about the last two stanzas about the Yamaka Vagga, first chapter of the Dhammapada. So don't take care of, because the Dhamma is not even even of the Gautama Buddha. Dhamma is of all the Buddhas. Gautama Buddha just presented the same Dhamma that was presented by other Buddhas. So don't get attached to the language, but learn out of it because you want to know it. But after that, don't try to make it a burden. Try to do more for the practice. Remember, there was a story that I can allude to that. There were two monks. That was a story happened in Sri Lanka, probably ancient times, probably in the Anuradhapura era. The story says there was one monk who was very well knowledgeable about the Dhamma and Abhidhamma, Vinaya, everything. But there was another monk who was younger than him, very younger than him, but attained Nibbana. He's an Arahant. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Then, but the monk who was very well versed has attained some jhanas. The jhanas are always temporary. You attain jhana, then the jhana will expire, right? So the monk said, the monk who attained already Nibbana, a younger monk said, Bhante, can you practice more to attain Nibbana? He said, no, I don't need. See what I can do. I can actually, I can create an elephant here now in front of us. Oh, really? And he said, okay, you make it. And then he created a big elephant in front of both of them. Oh, that's quite a big thing. And Arahant said, the Arahant young monk said, then he asked from the monk who, the old monk, senior monk who created with the jhanic things, okay, can you try to set him come towards us, this big elephant? And then he made it. And then the senior monk, he ran away. He has fear towards life. And then the young monk, see what's happening here. You have fear. Fear is what you have to overcome, attain Nibbana. Then only he understood his knowledge has nothing because there's no practice. Interesting. That means application, practice is very important.
Yeah, sadhu, Bhante, true.
Okay, so if there are no questions, we can actually transfer good karmas. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in today's discussion be transferred to all the departed people who passed away in the name of all of us. Especially today's Sutta discussion was being sponsored by Sister Jenny Chan, and she wants to transfer good karmas to two individuals. I hope that they may be parents, but I have no idea. Chan Ahwa, Lee Hok Chun. So may all the good karmas be transferred to Chan Ahwa and Lee Hok Chun and all the other relatives who passed away in the name of Sister Jenny Chan, and all the other relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May all the departed people who passed away in the name of all of us be able to receive all these good karmas. If they are reborn in a bad state of life, may they be able to transition to a better life. If they are already into a better life, may they be able to receive all these good karmas and improve their life standards to an extent to learn more Dhamma and to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idang me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyatayo. May all the good karmas be shared by all the Deva, Naga, and all the Mahindikas. May they protect and bless all of us, especially today's sponsor, Sister Jini Chan and her family, everybody who she thinks took your blessings. And also, Kim, may your situation get better faster and to make your plans as you wish. Also, everybody of us, monks, monastics, at the same time, all the devotees, friends who gathered here, who could not gather because of some other reasons, may you all be protected by the Deva Naga Mahindika. The sponsor asks to bless all beings. So all beings include all beings in the universe. May all beings in the universe be protected for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety by the Devas, Nagas, Mahindikas. May the Devas, Nagas, Mahindikas also be well and happy. May they also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabedeva anumodantu sabbasang patisiddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabe bhuta anumodantu sabbasang patisiddhya. Ettavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabe satta anumodantu sabbasang patisiddhya. Aka sattha cha bummata divanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tuluka sasanang. Aka sattha cha bummata divanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tudesanang. Aka sattha cha bummata divanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tumang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish, as we usually do. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in today's discussion be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm gonna recite a couple of stanzas to bless you more. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana Sirisse Nichang Vadha Pachayino Chataru Dhamma Vadhanti Ayuvannu Sukhang Balang Ayura Rogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminati Samignshatu. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, may all your sicknesses go away. May all your fears go away. May all your sufferings go away. May all you be always safe, prosperous, and happy. Thank you. Have a good night. And we'll see you with a brand new discussion next Friday. That means it's going to be doing Ratana Sutta. I'm going to be sending a PDF like for Mangala Sutta, like this time. Good night.
Sorry,
Okay.
one
Thank
quick
you,
question.
Bhante.
Sorry.
One quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So sorry to come up with the question now. Okay, what happened this evening was it is impromptu. I was on the way home. Then there was this lady who was lost. Apparently she was lost, and then I picked her up, and then I sent her to her destination, which is about 10 km from where I live. And it took us a long time. I just want to check this. Whatever that I did, was it a blessing to her or was it a blessing to me?
Two-way. Two-way.
Because she was an 84-year-old lady, and
Yeah.
she was completely lost when, in fact, when I was speaking with her, because I couldn't communicate in Chinese, and I had to get a friend to, translate whatever that she was trying to say. And so I just want to check this kind of blessing that you are referring to. Is it a blessing? Is she the recipient of this blessing, or
Okay,
am I the giver of the blessing?
there are two answers. Short answer is this is a two-way blessing. Okay. The
Okay.
long answer is this arises when you think about seeking blessings, not creating blessings.
Okay.
Now seeking blessings is what many people do, getting the chanting and all that, but you are creating blessings. So I think the best thing is do good karmas in a way that you are naturally doing that. Like you notice that this lady needs a help, needs a ride, and you did it. And since you
And then I came late for your class because because of my good act. I actually came late for the class because I couldn't find the place and all those stuff. So that's why I'm trying to. It's like a little bit contradictory. Whether the blessing is it the way that we are doing it, or how do we perceive it?
no, I think rather than thinking how to make different blessings during the day, because blessings work depending on what we do, what we experience, right? So today on the way, you had this experience, so you did it, and then it works two way. I mean, you created the blessing, and probably she might be very thankful to you, grateful
Yeah,
to
she was.
for the ride. But it is not an excuse for not coming to the class, though. Keep that in mind.
No, because I had to drive. That was so. That blessing is reduced, is it?
No. I'm just joking. So
Yeah,
I mean, that's I mean, just be natural for the blessing. Be natural.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
try to look for the blessing. Now, normally what people do, they look for the blessing. Who has the highest blessing? Huh? Which monk has the highest blessing? Which temple has the highest blessing? Which book has the highest blessing? This is the thinking that actually ruins our mind, because blessings, whoever we know, we will go to the place, we're going to get the blessings. But our point is that we have to create blessings as much as we can, but that is conditional upon the situation, like what happened to you today. So while like, let's say when you want to do a certain blessing, you need to manage your other things too, right? Otherwise, if you think that, okay, dana is good, so I have to give dana all the time, so you are running late with other things, right? So you have to manage. So always go with the situation and try to incorporate most out of these 38.
Okay. Thank you, Venerable. And another quick question. I'm so sorry, it's suddenly coming to my mind. These Mangala blessings, if we want to share with our students in the Sunday school who are of the age of 9, say 9 to 12, what is the best and the shortcut way for us to excite them that there are these blessings that the Buddha has shared, and instead of going and divulging all the 38, and they just
No, I don't think we have to teach all these 38. Probably we have to cherry pick a couple of the blessings that are relevant to them, because these students, they even don't know the ABC of the Dhamma sometimes. They just learn some of the historical stories of the Buddha and the life. So it is good to cherry pick few of the blessings that are relevant to their life, at least probably 8 to 10, and then you start teaching during the time.
Yeah, because there's the point where we say that we are supposed to, associate with the wise and all those things.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, that is a very good point. But then there are some kids who actually came back to us saying that they want to be friends with their other friends who are not so, what is this, spiritually inclined, or with good natured, because they want to be popular, because those children are the ones who are popular in school. So how do we penetrate that mindset of these kids?
Sister Vinita, here is the thing. Now, the level that we expect somebody to execute the first, second blessing, like associating the good, wise people and not associating the bad, unwise people, it could be a little higher level to a student in the Dhamma school. So we have to find out how they look for a good friend. Now, they won't look for a good friend in Dhamma school thinking, oh, this is somebody who practices Dhamma, so I need to be around. or it will be surrounded by them. No, they will look for somebody who helps out, who is good to them, who is caring, who has empathy. So we have to find out another version of a good friend, like in the Singalavada Sutta, to bring this Mangala factor to them. But for us adults, this thing is Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra is somebody who takes us to the Nibbana. It is not going to apply to them. They are still not mature enough to bring that knowledge to Kalyana Mitra. So I think for the Dhamma school students, we have to incorporate this with certain other thing. It's like you don't give the high dose to a child the same medication. You might need to dilute something with sugar, right? Otherwise they won't have it. So in the same way, we have to present the Dhamma to them, the same Dhamma, without tarnishing the pristine Dhamma, but with the truth in a certain comfortable, accommodating way. Yeah, we have to do some research for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bhante. A lot of
We have
research. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Take care. See you next Thursday.
Yeah, you too.
Friday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kim, get well, Kim, soon. Get well. Go to New Zealand soon. Okay. Okay.
Bhante, how was your Thailand meeting or what?
I'm in Thailand now. I'm in Ayutthaya at the moment. I'm flying back to Colombo 15. I've been actually doing some grasswork stuff here for the center here, Buddhist Research Institute at MCU in Ayutthaya. Yeah, so it's going really well, and the journal has 2 volumes. That means one's going to be publishing in July. I don't think that I can contribute a lot for that because it's too late at the moment, but I do some advising stuff to them. And then there's another version coming up in December. So yeah, so I have some role, but I can manage.
Thank you, Bhante.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
I mean, thank you for connecting us from Thailand. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Today's
from Ayutthaya.
Dhamma. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Good night.
Sadhu. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Bhante. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Bhante.
Thank you, Kim. You are from
Yes.
Hannibal, faraway place too. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Lim. Thank you, Aliana. But she's joining from Penang, I guess. Penang. Okay. Take care.
Yes. And yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bhante.
Bhante.